This video demonstrates how to bond fabrics to create non-fray edges that require no sewing. Now for this technique I will be using some bonding. So just to explain what bonding is, the most common here is Bond-A-Web. Most commonly Bond-A-Web is a lightweight bonding and it's really used to hold two pieces of fabric together temporarily. So this won't be suitable for the technique I'm using today. Now I do have a roll here of a heavyweight Bond-A-Web and I'll show you what this looks like now in a moment. But what I find most successful for this technique is either Heat and Bond Light, which is the purple one, or Heat and Bond Ultra Hold, which shouldn't be sewn. It could be perfect for this, but the Heat and Bond Light, this is the one that I actually quite like to use, and this is the one that I will demonstrate. Okay, so just to show you in detail the differences between them. So again, this one here is a lightweight Bond-A-Web. Lightweight is not suitable. This roll here is a heavyweight Bond-A-Web. So when you unroll it, this one has the glue is coming away from the paper. Normally it is attached to the paper, but just to show you how much glue there is a reasonably lightweight, reasonably see-through layer of glue, and this is what's going to glue the fabric together. Normally it is attached to the paper there. And then with the Heat and Bond Light, this is the one with the purple, and where the bonding is here, just to show you when the paper is peeled away. Okay, so this is how much glue. So it is quite a lot more glue than the Bond-A-Web Heavy. This one is like a solid sheet of plastic and this one is more like a fusing. With experimenting, they both hold equally well, okay, even though this one feels like a lot more glue. So taking a closer look then at the Heat and Bond Ultra Bond. The Ultra Bond here is even more opaque and there's quite a bit of glue here. It really is a whole sheet in comparison to the lighter weight, which looks a good bit more see-through here. Okay, so just as a guide, but in general use, I actually prefer this light one best. For this demo, I'm planning to make a little Peter Pan collar and I've cut out a pattern ready to cut out the shape that I need. Now for the collar pattern piece that I've got, I am going to work with two pieces of white cotton and I'm going to bond the two together so that I can cut out the collar shape without having to sew the edges. Now I've just cut a piece of the bonding here a little bit smaller than the fabric so that I don't accidentally attach it to my ironing board. So what I need to do is to take one layer of the fabric, so I'll move this one away for the moment, and then place the paper with the glue side down. So again, the glue side here is that shiny side. It's got almost a honeycomb texture on it. And then with the iron on a medium setting. So I have the iron here on 2 dots. We can turn the steam off using a reasonable amount of pressure. Press for as short a time as possible or until the paper or the bonding looks attached to the base fabric. A piece this size takes about a minute of pressing. So this looks reasonably well stuck. It's important not to iron for too long, otherwise you'll iron all of the glue into the fabric and there's none left to attach to the other piece of fabric. Now just give it a second to cool. This is molten glue in underneath. So I will give it maybe 30 seconds to cool down. If you're impatient, you can wave it around a little bit. Okay, this looks nicely stuck. So then to peel away the paper. Okay, so just starting to peel it away from the edge. You can see that the glue has stuck to the fabric here. It's reasonably well stuck. So when I peel away the paper, you can see the shine of the glue there. This is quite a bit of glue. So the fabric is now much stiffer than it was prior. Okay, so now I need to place the second layer of fabric over the top. Using a different coloured fabric for the second side can give really interesting effects. Okay, and then gradually attach the second layer to the first layer. So I'll start in the centre and work my way out. Okay, I'm applying quite a bit of pressure. I want to be sure it's stuck well to the glue. Press for roughly a minute or until the top layer seems well stuck to the bottom layer. In this case, I've pressed for about 2 minutes to make sure that the glue is well distributed between both layers. Okay, and allow the fabric to cool before attempting to cut out any of the shapes. Now for tracing out, I'm going to use this soluble blue pen or blue marker, and then I can get rid of any lines that are left using a damp cloth when I'm finished. Cut out the shape using a sharp scissors and a steady hand. This is the cutout collar shape. Now I just need to dissolve those blue lines using a wet cloth. And then just patting very gently onto the blue lines. They'll disappear with very, very little water. So this is the completed cutout collar, and I think one of the most attractive parts of this technique is these edges don't need any finishing. The edges of the fabric are bonded with the glue, so really this is a finished collar piece. So what I'm planning to do is to punch a series of holes, because again, being non-fray, I can punch away without having to finish the edges. So I'm interested maybe in creating a slightly broderie anglaise finish to the collar. Okay, so in order to create a broderie anglaise cut edge, I'm working with a thread spool, and I'm placing the spool around the edge of the collar, and I'm drawing around the shape of the spool, and I'm thinking that that might look quite good. So that would mean removing all of these little sections here, which will give me a very lacy edge on the collar, and then maybe just punching a hole in the center of each of these circular shapes. Now I've just finished tracing off all of these little circles around the edge of the pattern. I have cut away all of the negative space around all of those, and I'm just going to trace all of those little nicks onto the collar, and then I'm going to cut away all of these little scalloped pieces from the edge. My plan then is I have a hole punch, and I'm going to punch a little hole in the edge of each one of these so that it has a frilled effect. Okay, so I'll work my way around the collar and then I can trim it out. Again, trim with the sharp scissors and a steady hand. Okay, so this is the cutout collar with the scalloped trim. I think it looks really sweet. So I'm going to start by punching holes. If I punch one hole here and one hole here, that would be perfect for tying this collar closed. But I think I'm going to continue the pattern the whole way around to the back of the collar. And the main advantage of this technique is because this is a non-fray fabric, I can cut in any shape I want. Now for punching the holes, I have this hole punch, and this is from an eyeletting kit. Now, so this is the finished collar. I've just finished punching all of the holes around the outside. Of course, I could keep punching forever, but I think that's actually quite a nice amount. I like how simple and almost graphic, but yet sweet it is. So now I still have some of these blue lines on the back, so I'm just going to mist away all the blue lines and then put it back on the stand. that is the colour there tied off with a piece of cord, and I think it's quite nice the way the holes actually lend themselves to a way for tying the collar. Okay, I've tied a double cord into each side just for ease of tying it off and to give it a neat finish. Okay, because this bonded fabric is so stiff, it is the perfect technique if you need to create a stand-up collar, or if you're looking to create a more three-dimensional sculptural shape. And really it's a fantastic way of creating anything that needs an uneven or complex sort of an edge where you think, how could I sew this? Maybe I could bond it.